Hello, and welcome to the Intro to TraceLabs training series. My name is Adrian Korn, also known as AK-47 Intel, and I'm a director at TraceLabs. In this first video, I will be giving you an overview of TraceLabs and our mission. After watching this, you'll be able to proceed on to other training videos that dive into how to get involved in our crowdsourced OSINT CTFs and other initiatives. To begin with the intro, I'll give some background on our organization. TraceLabs, we are a Canadian-based not-for-profit organization with a mission to crowdsource open source intelligence to help generate new leads on active missing persons investigations. Although we are Canadian-based, our community extends across the world to the US, UK, and even Australia. When we talk about OSINT in the context of TraceLabs, I'll go ahead and define what OSINT is for everyone. OSINT refers to the collection, processing, and analysis of publicly available data that has been determined to be of intelligence value. Sources of OSINT include the surface, deep and dark web, social media, news media, academic sources, and even government records. Taking OSINT one step further into the context of TraceLabs, we really use this concept of OSINTForGood a lot. And really what OSINTForGood is really applying OSINT skill sets to further a charitable or ethical cause. We see other organizations in the space doing similar type of work to us as well. One example is Operation Safe Escape. They are a not-for-profit that helps domestic abuse victims strengthen their privacy and see what information is available out there on internet for them. We've also seen the National Child Protection Task Force, where they bring together current and retired law enforcement officers to work missing persons investigations specifically for missing children. We've also seen the Europol project Stop Child Abuse, Trace an Object. This is where they put out various pictures related to child abuse investigations with the hopes of having the broader global community crowdsource where that image was taken to help further along in their investigation. Now, the reason why we use OSINTForGood at TraceLabs and really applied it to our model is really because the landscape is changing. Traditional crimes are evolving, they're moving digital. We've seen investigations now, especially with law enforcement, are now becoming multifaceted and include digital components. However, not all law enforcement agencies have really adapted to this digital boom of OSINT, and this is really where we come in. And additionally, there's a global challenge with missing persons. First off, 75% of missing persons return home within 7 days. That means that 25% of them aren't returned home within that 1 week period. Now, in order to become missing, you must be reported missing, meaning a friend or family member has to file a missing persons report. And also, to be missing is not a crime, and therefore this becomes lower priority typically within police departments. And with limited resources, law enforcement cannot sustain all their active cases and give them all of the priority and urgencies that they need. Entering in our TraceLabs model, we've developed a model to use crowdsourced OSINT to help with missing persons cases that law enforcement has requested the public's assistance with. We bring together hundreds of skilled investigators through our CTF events and ongoing operations to crowdsource any new leads that might be out there on internet, and we only use OSINT for this. We also apply to our model the crowdsourcing of not only the collection of OSINT, but also the processing of it. So for every piece of intel that we collect, we have a volunteer member verify it as well. Our core functions as an organization, to give some more context, we're really focused on missing persons awareness primarily, and then we have our OSINT search party CTF events. And we do these with various corporations, not-for-profits, universities, conferences, and even law enforcement agencies. And we also do them virtually when we run our global events a few times a year, which is now scaling up in this new world we live in. Our ongoing operations, this is another core function of TraceLabs. We also run 24/7 missing persons investigations through our Slack group and a Trello board, which I'll explain a little bit more later in this video. And then lastly, our other core function is to provide training to our members. So we partner with a number of training providers to do this. Now, with our key rules of engagement, we have very strict rules our community follows to ensure we don't interfere with any missing person investigation. The first rule and foremost is the concept of zero touch recon. This means that during an investigation, you cannot contact the missing person, their family, or their friends. So, any contact whatsoever, be it via phone, email, social media, anything like that, that's not permitted. The second rule of engagement is really to provide only relevant intel sources, nothing of speculative nature. And then lastly, we ask that you show your work with every piece of intel that you submit, where you have a publicly verifiable link to go along with all your submissions. Now, with all this concept in mind, the value offering that we're really bringing to law enforcement is raising the public awareness in local communities around the missing persons issue. And also, we're providing law enforcement with the opportunity to partner with local and international OSINT experts being in our community. We also provide a low risk and proven model with our concept of passive recon only being used. We have limited risk in our investigations we do. And then lastly, any new actionable intel that we find in an investigation can allow a law enforcement agency to reopen a cold case as well. And we've seen this a number of times. The value offering we're bringing to contestants, our community, is really the opportunity to participate in our exciting CTF experience, where we have a very low barrier to entry, where anyone who wants to participate only needs a computer and an internet connection. Our CTFs are also non-theoretical, meaning it's a realistic experience. We're looking at real cases, gathering real intel. And teams are also provided opportunities for beginners to learn from more experienced members of the team. We've seen this a lot as well. To show the impact that we've had over the past 2 years as an organization, we've run over 30 CTF events globally. We've had over 2,500 contestants participate. We've worked with over 10 law enforcement agencies. And through all this work, we've actually gathered over 30,000 unique pieces of intelligence. We've had over 500 volunteer judges who have been processing all this OSINT that we've collected. And in all this effort, we've investigated over 250 missing persons cases. Examples of our past events here, you can see we started off in 2018. Our first event was with DEF CON Toronto. We've also done events with, DEF CON in Vegas, both DEF CON 26 and 27. We've done events with Pride Toronto. We've done events over in Australia where we did a national event with the Australian Federal Police. And we've even done events with SANS. So the events have been across a wide variety of industries. Now, to proceed forward with the video, I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction to our website and show you how you can get started with TraceLabs. So, to navigate over to the website, it's tracelabs.org. When you get here, the first thing you're going to want to do is actually go and join our Slack group. And there's a link here that will take you to join. And once you're actually signed up, you'll see you have access to our global Slack community. Right away, you can notice here, right now, as of June 16th, 2020, we have almost 7,500 members. And when you log in, you'll see you have access to a number of public channels by default. The first one you probably want to navigate to is our introduction channel. We always like to see our new members introduce themselves and give some background on their skills and expertise. The next channel or resource you want to check out in our Slack is really looking at the GreetBot app that kind of greets you when you join the Slack. This will go over some key information for you to know about, including our TraceLabs senior leadership team, how the CTFs work, how our ongoing operations work, and how the channels work as well. And you'll see here that you have access to even more channels than what's shown here by default. We have channels related to specific events we run or have ran. We have channels specifically set up for the missing persons investigations we do on an ongoing basis. They will start with an MP and a hyphen. And we have other projects going on as well, such as training. We have a Kali Linux distribution focused on OSINT project. And we also have a project to contribute to our website as well. Now, navigating back to our website just for a moment, you'll see here there's some other links that you can take a look at. I also recommend you take a look at our Eventbrite. That is linked through the events menu here. You can look at our past events that we've run, and this one right here, the most recent Saturday, April 11th, we ran a global event. You can actually go to that and get a feel for what our events are about and how they're structured. So you can review that here. Gives you background on like how the CTF works, how to get onboard to the platform, what prizes we offer, and how to prepare for the event as well. The last thing I want to leave you off with on our website is really to take a look at the other links we have. So we have information that goes into more detail about how our CTF works. We have a number of resources, including training. So we have a number of training partners that we endorse. You can see that over here. We also have tools that we publish, mainly open source tools. Other sites you should look at, podcasts, presentations, and many other resources as well. Now, with that, that's going to bring us to the end of this introduction video. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video of the series.